This FedGov Today program is sponsored by Maximus. On this edition of FedGov Today, the checklist for burning down your agency's cyber risk.
Each organization has their risk tolerance, what is acceptable to them based on the type of the data, right, information presented, and those type of things.
Outgoing DHS CISO Hemant Baidwan on FedGov Today in just a moment. Uniting program strategy, advanced technology, process, and execution for a more efficient government. That's Maximus. Every program, every service, every time. That's innovation forward. Learn more at maximus.com/federal. The Department of Homeland Security is on the hunt for a new Chief Information Security Officer. Hemant Baidwan's last day in that job was last Friday. He's now the CISO at Knox. Hemant, welcome. It's great to talk to you again. Thanks for joining me once more. What do you think has changed most significantly about the cybersecurity posture of DHS from when you took over as CISO from Ken Bible in April 2024 versus your last day last Friday? Welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me again. It's truly an honor to talk to you. Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say there's a lot has changed, right? Not just at DHS, but cybersecurity overall. At this time right now, this is a very pivotal point where I'm seeing the way, agencies, private organizations, the way we tackle cybersecurity challenges is completely different. And primarily is because of kind of, let's, be honest, kind of introduction of AI that came in. AI certainly is been a valuable tool for cybersecurity space in helping existing cyber defenders kind of accelerate what they are doing and kind of help them there. But it's also used by the adversaries, right? As you have seen, is public knowledge. They're also using AI and all the tools that they're out there to be able to take advantage of that and target companies and agencies and those type of things. So I think the biggest shift really has been in the last 2 years, really the acceleration of that overall, both internal use of AI to help, but also use of AI by the adversary, which is increasing quite often now in all the different sectors and areas. So in order for us to kind of shift and make sure that we stay in front of that, one of the biggest changes that we implemented, I had established our kind of internal DHS cybersecurity strategy that is focused on specific key areas for the department. That includes, obviously, how do we automate a lot of the manual processes that we've had, for many years. How do we make sure that we are able to get better visibility into the true risk, and get in front of some of these challenges that may occur because of the adversary views of AI specifically. That strategy was really instrumental across the department with the components and with their missions in making sure that all of us, not just me specifically as the CISO, but all of the components, work together in defining what their strategy is. What do we need to work on over the next few years to make sure that we, kind of get ahead of that, got in front of the risks that we are seeing. So I would say that was probably the key element. Now, between, I would say in the last 2 years, that has continues to accelerate. Where I was fortunate, honestly, to be in the role and to be supported, by leadership, at DHS and across the government as we start to look at how do we move to automation using AI in some case for sure, but how do we move to kind of going away in the federal space, especially from this compliance-driven security that that the government agencies are used to, and how do we really get in front of understanding what is the actual risk, what do we need to put our resources on, what do we need to fix first. So to be able to do that, certainly AI is very, very beneficial. It was a very helpful tool to help us accelerate that. But that was the big shift when we all started, not just through tools, because let's be honest, the tools are there, and it's the culture that we also have to change, making sure that we are getting the federal employees, the workforce behind kind of where we need to go next. Make sure that they are understanding that, look, as much as we rely on some of the compliance elements, and the adversary is not looking for a paper document or Excel spreadsheet and saying that, okay, well, there's a plan to fix these things. We are good. We'll come back once it's fixed, right? So they don't really look for that. So we had to really pivot and move in the direction of understanding true risk across the department, operationalizing kind of what we defined at DHS as risk operations center, in really kind of getting the right visibility at the right layer, understanding what the issues are, and start burning down those risks to make sure that our systems and data is secure.
What are the most important tools that you would advise another CISO at another federal agency to have in that risk operations center? I think everybody understands what you have to have in a SOC, but I'm not sure that. And by the way, I love the term ROC. I'm not sure everybody knows necessarily what comprises a mature ROC to be able to understand what the risk landscape looks like.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And without going into like specific tools, there are a lot of tools. I mean, we are in a really like amazing era right now that there are so many tools that are really very, are innovative and are doing things. So I don't know if it'll be like one tool versus another tool,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I think
thinking more about the
ultimately,
functionality that's available
yes,
and
that's it.
what the functions are that
That's it.
somebody needs to be able to perform, or what the deliverables would be from a risk operations center.
100%. So the main goal would be to make sure that you have capability to be able to, number one, have the right level of visibility, right? And the right level of visibility doesn't mean, getting something once a week or once a month to understand where the risks are, but like continuous evaluation of risk. So to be able to have a posture where you are constantly not only evaluating, getting information on vulnerabilities, but you're also getting information on where there are misconfigurations, for example, and if to be able to really deploy uh, uh, resources to determine attack paths. Attack paths meaning there may be something that is of critical, super high vulnerability, right? But it may not impact you for this one system, similar to or in a different way that it may impact another system, right? So to be able to really have the attack path, so you can, then to answer your question, the biggest thing would be for the rock and the resources there to start like what I call like burning down the risk, right? To be able to make sure that, number one, you start evaluating, come in, you make sure that you understand where are the actual risks outside of like, compliance side of things and those things. What is the real what are the real threats that's impacting me today? What are the real risks? Start burning those down immediately, right? Start actioning those down so you can, get those systems and the data secure. But I think also more importantly, it is, you need to have this kind of a loop, right? That is happening where I can see where the ROC or the Risk Operations Center, will constantly work with the Security Operations Center. So Security Operations Center, as you know, it's not, I'm not speaking specifically for DHS, just overall in private industry, government industry, there's this alert noise, right? That's a big thing, meaning you're getting a lot of these kind of issues that is being sent to the SOC, and sometimes they're false positives, sometimes they're real things, but it becomes so noisy that there is a true alert fatigue where you do not want to miss a real issue, obviously, right? You want to take care of that. So the rock working with the SOC constantly kind of in that loop to make sure that they are providing the right insightful, meaningful, actionable data if there is an issue so that the SOC can take care of it. And then most importantly, based on the visibility that you have for the enterprise And based on this, risk operations center, because now you understand where the actual risks are across the department or across the company's environment, doesn't matter where it is. Once you have a good understanding of that, then you can also, this can lead to development of, good policies, good standards. It leads to understanding for an enterprise, what do I need to really invest in? If you're seeing a major issue with identity, for example, right, across the board, then maybe we need a different, process for that. Maybe we need different solutions to tighten those up. But, it goes again beyond to just kind of having, which is great when the auditors come in, they evaluate, they provide the information, and take actions on those things. But this will be basically a continuous audit that you are able to do of your environment constantly, every second of the day, so you can make sure that you're staying ahead of these adversaries that are using AI or other things to breach your systems and data.
When you talk about burning down the risk, Hemant, from the information and the data that you get from the Risk Operations Center, are you do you mean mitigating it or trying to eliminate it? Is there such a thing, I guess, as eliminating cyber risk in 2026?
Yeah, there is, and I think when I speak about really bringing down the risk, is really you are reducing the risk to an acceptable level that each organization has their they have their risk tolerance, what is acceptable to them based on the type of the data, right, information presented, and those type of things. Agree 100%. It's not always as easy as, hey, I will just click this button and all my risk kind of goes away. Which we're not there yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But we are getting to a point where I can see use of AI agents and things like that. So I'll give you an example. For example, if there is, for instance, just hypothetical, if there are misconfigurations in a cloud environment where you know unfortunately someone pressed the wrong thing and now that data is exposed to the internet, right? Those are type, now it's not a vulnerability because it's not like, doesn't have like a CVE per se, but it's a human error or otherwise, right, that now had caused sensitive data or certain data to be now exposed, or data that you don't want to be exposed. Those are type of things where you can use AI agents to continuously monitor for those things, and then you can use AI agents to also then remediate those things. Whereas like hey, anytime this AI agent discovers these type of kind of, that should not, based on the policy standards that you established, discovers these type of misconfiguration or issues before a threat actor, because again, they're, I'm sure, are also using AI. So before the adversary can get to it, you're able to then remediate. Now, there's obviously debate, or do you let AI remediate it? Is there it kind of, the alert, the rock, for example, that would be good. Alert goes out rock, they press the button, and that issue is remediated. That's where I feel like what you can call like self-healing infrastructure, for example, right, or self-healing cloud. Like this is where I feel like industry, government needs to really go. Where some, I mean, these are things that the threat actors look for. They look for not sophisticated type of situations, but they look for these kind of weaknesses that pop up because either someone did not apply the right configurations, or did something right unknowingly, maybe, right, that now exposed a set of data that should not be. And AI is really able to help kind of get in front of that, make sure that you are aware of it, because it should be continuously analyzing that.
What did you start at DHS that you didn't finish just because of your departure, that you will enjoy watching continue to mature from the outside looking in, and keep in touch with your friends that are still there and all of that?
Thank you, Francis. That's amazing question, and honestly, it's one of the reasons why, personally, for me, this was a really difficult decision to depart DHS at this time, because of exactly this. I feel that we have established some really solid foundations for the raw, for automating and kind of even maturing the SOC functions, for kind of removing some of the manual, processes that we are used to and kind of automating those. A lot is being done, and same thing with zero trust. I think we are at a good place, right? But there's a lot more that can be done. So I think all those efforts are underway. I'm super proud, honestly, of our teams at DHS across the department, across the federal government. Is something that everyone understands. They're all behind, and I am very, very, kind of sad that I'm not going to be directly, be a part of that. But I'm also very excited for kind of what's to come next for DHS in terms of cybersecurity. I think they are on an amazing track, and with great leaders kind of leading some of these efforts across the department.
Congratulations on your new job at Knox. Thanks for your service to the country, and I look forward to
Thank you.
continuing the dialogue with you out of government as we did it during when you were in. Thanks very much, Hemant.
Thank you so much.
You can read more on today's show page at fedgovtoday.com. Don't forget, FedGov Today TV debuts at a new time every Sunday morning. You can see the new show Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on ABC7 in Washington and on YouTube. If you missed the debut, you can watch on demand on the FedGov Today YouTube channel and on fedgovtoday.com. The next FedGov Today podcast is coming next Tuesday. I'm Francis Rose. I'll talk to you then. Thanks for listening.